So I went from being a lazy, good-for-nothing, sitting around, feeling sorry for myself, drinking all the time, completely giving myself over to my weaknesses, to being who I am now, which is the complete opposite. And it all happened because of these 7 words. Now, growing up, I was like anybody else. I had my struggles and I made a lot of bad decisions, but it led me to a point in my life where I almost ended up drinking myself into the grave. I was just so depressed. I just drank every single day. And I had this one night where I drank so much, I barely made it. I mean, it was bad. And after about 5 days of suffering, I came out the other side saying, why am I here? Like, what is any of this for? Is God real? Like, what's going to happen to me? Because I'll be honest with you, I was not scared of death until that moment. I was laying in my bathroom, I couldn't breathe, and I thought it was over. I thought I was going to suffocate, and I eventually passed out. But again, when I came out the other side, I started asking questions. And I remember thinking, you know, there's all these people that go to church and that you can tell they're just ready to get out of there, a bunch of hypocrites, always talking about each other and going behind each other's backs, which I actually made a video about this. If you've ever been hurt by the church, check out my playlist. I've actually got a video about how the church hurt me twice, so this is kind of the continuation. But you don't need to watch that one to watch this one. You can still watch this one and go back and watch that one later. But I kept thinking about these people who were different. They were standing, you know, at the altar with their hands up, praising God and just crying. And I'm like, what's up with that? Like, I want to understand what that's all about. So I pulled a Bible out of the closet that my dad had given me when I was a teenager, and I just started flipping through the pages. And of course, I didn't understand anything at first, but then I started seeing these stories about chariots of fire, people talking to angels, a donkey actually speaking, people getting healed, people coming to Jesus and getting their whole life changed. And I kept thinking, why doesn't anybody talk about this stuff? So I got obsessed. I started reading, I started praying, and then I started seeing scriptures in the Bible that basically made it clear that this stuff is for me. I started seeing stuff like, draw near to me and I'll draw near to you, and God is no respecter of persons. And I'm thinking, if I do this stuff, is it going to work? And then I read those 7 words. Now I'm going to tell you what they are here in just a bit. I'm telling you, but I want to give you the foundation first, because if I give you the sentence and you don't listen to the foundation, you're going to miss the whole point. I think most people do. So when I saw these words, I started thinking, this is a game changer. Like, this is like, how do more people not talk about this? And I started walking in this. And I started expecting God to show up. I started expecting God to answer my prayers. And I got to a point too where I said, God, I need to get out of this apartment. Like, there's nothing, I've done nothing but feel sorry for myself here. I don't like the vibe of the place. I need to get out of here. So I started praying for a house. I knew if I had a house, if I had more space, if I had something to take care of it, maybe it would motivate me to take care of myself. But then there's something else I read in the Bible too, and it says, when you pray, believe that you have received, you shall have anything you ask, that my Father may be glorified. That's what Jesus said. And I started thinking, well, if I pray for things that I want, it's good for me, but if I glorify God and I tell people about it, what He's doing, then He has to do it, right? So I started believing God for this house, and I started telling people, listen, God's going to bless me with a house. This is going to be awesome. And people thought I was crazy. They didn't know what the heck I was talking about. I didn't care though. I was like, I'm getting a house, okay? I don't care what anybody says. And what I started doing was I thought about that line, when you pray, believe you have received. And I started thinking, does this mean I just think like I already have it? So I started thinking about what a kid does. A kid uses their imagination. So I started walking around my little bitty bachelor apartment. It was tiny. I live in a tiny house right now that we just remodeled, 450 square feet. This apartment was even smaller. It was basically a room with a little bitty kitchen. I think the countertop was like this big, I don't know, something like that. And there was a little bitty bathroom and a little bitty closet, like a coat closet. Oh, and the hot water heater closet. But it was tiny. But what I started doing was I started walking around the house, and I would go to the bathroom and I'd open the door and I'm like, well, there's my bedroom. Because again, this was a bachelor apartment. I didn't even have a bedroom. And I'd open that door, there's my bedroom. And then I'd open the closet and, oh, there's my second bedroom. And then I'd open the other closet and be like, oh, there's my second bathroom. And then I'd go back to the first closet. Oh, there's the door that goes out to my deck in my backyard. Like, I would do this day after day, and I was like, I've already got this, man. I'm living in it. I'm here right now. I got so into it, this is a little embarrassing, but I got so into it that I actually started eating dinner in my closet from time to time, and I was pretending that I was eating in my dining room, right? I was in it. I was in it to win it. But I kept doing this over and over and over. And then my cousin walks in one day. Now, my cousin, I had been spending a lot of time with him. Most of my other friends kind of took off because I was just, first I started out as a boohoo crybaby. And then next thing I know, I'm a Jesus freak, and they didn't know what to think. So most of them abandoned me. And my cousin Jesse didn't really know what to think either, but he was still coming to my house, and we were still hanging out. And he comes in one day and he goes, hey, and I'd mentioned to him that I was looking for a house. So he says, hey, my neighbor that we helped take care of right next to us? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, she actually just passed away. And I told him, man, I'm really sorry to hear that. And he said, well, she believed in God, and we believe that she went to heaven. Everybody's fine. But he said, that's not my point. He said, my point is that her house is for sale. In that moment, I said, man, that's my house. I was like, that's the house I've been praying for. That's the house that I've been believing God for. I didn't tell him I was playing, make-believe in my house, but I told him I was praying for that house. That's what I'm believing for. He's like, all right, man, whatever you say. So my mom and I start talking about it, and we reach out to my aunt, and we talk to her, and she knew the family really well because she took care of the lady. And basically, there wasn't much luck of me getting the house. I didn't have credit. I didn't have anything that I owned. I was like 20 years old. I was worthless. I barely worked. I was working part-time at the time. I mean, my rent at that little apartment was nothing. My mom bought me groceries. I mean, I was pretty much worthless. And everybody kept telling me, you're not going to get that loan. You don't want that house. The floor's caving in. It's falling apart. You don't want that house. It's haunted, which actually it was haunted. And that's one of the biggest reasons I moved into the house, believe it or not. Most people would avoid it, but I actually ended up moving in for that reason. I was kind of a thrill seeker, ghost hunter when I was younger. And when I started reading the Bible and I started hearing about, like Samuel coming up from the grave, like the medium calling him up, and King Saul and him talked, I'm like, well, that sounds like a ghost to me. So I got very interested in this, which I do not recommend, by the way. Just listen to my stories and let it be. You don't want to mess with this stuff at all. It ended up turning pretty bad. Like, you don't want to face some of the things that I faced. It was terrifying, to say the least. Okay, so moving on. But everybody kept telling me I wasn't going to get this house. And I kept telling people, listen, I'm getting this house. I've been praying for it. I'm believing. Everybody thought I was bananas. I didn't care. I was like, I'm getting this house. Well, guess what? I got the house. I didn't get a loan. I didn't even step foot in the bank. They ended up doing a rent-to-own agreement with me because they trusted my aunt, who trusted my mom, who my mom kind of trusted me. She put a lot of faith in me, but she trusted herself that she was going to bail me out if I screwed it up. And they ended up doing a rent-to-own agreement. And the crazy thing is, it's like in 2003, 2004, something like that, probably 2004. I mean, things were a lot cheaper then, but the amount of money I paid for this house was crazy. I actually paid $25,000 for the house, and I was going to pay $150 a month. And I ended up bringing it up to $30,250 a month to help the family out because they were kind of struggling. But yeah, that was it. And guess what? It had 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It had a back deck. It had a fenced-in yard. It had a shop. Everything I was believing for and more. We serve a God that does exceedingly abundantly above all that we could think or ask. So I ended up moving into this house, and it was just the beginning of my journey. Man, we're about to get into some stories. I spent about 4 years in this house, about two and a half years, just locking myself in the house, reading the Bible nonstop, fasting, praying, seeking God. I went to work, I came home. That's all I did. I mean, I was so determined to have experiences with God. I was so determined to understand as much of the Bible as possible. And let me tell you, folks, when you get that obsessed with God, the Bible says, if you seek me with all your heart, you will find me. I read those words too, and I believed it. And next thing you know, man, I'm having experiences, I'm having visions, I'm having dreams, I'm encountering these creatures in my house, and it's crazy. I'm about to get into some stuff. So no matter what you're struggling with, God can deliver you. And I'm going to share those 7 words with you right now. These, I'm telling you, don't just hear these words and go on. Believe these words, claim these words, speak these words, and walk in it. You ready? According to your faith, be it unto you. According to your faith, be it unto you. It's massively life-changing because what God is telling you is, nobody else can believe but you, and God will do it. If your goal is improving your life and giving Him the glory, this house right here is the perfect example. Guess what? It happened to me twice. The house I'm living in right now, I believed God and I told him I'd give him the glory. And here we are on YouTube. I got another channel called Led by Fire. So this one's Led by Fire Stories. My main channel is Led by Fire. I actually shared the journey of this house, moving out here, stepping out in faith. We remodeled it. We set a crazy budget. God came through. And I even said in my earlier videos that God was going to hit this budget, and he destroyed it. It's just amazing what God does when you step out in faith. Is it scary? Yes. But if the Bible's true and you believe the Bible's true, God can't fail, and he never breaks his word. If you're seeking him, if you're praying and you feel like, God, I really believe you want me to do this, then just step into it. According to your faith, be it unto you. So we're going to get into some interesting videos. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. I got a playlist popping up of some more videos you guys can check out. I look forward to hanging out with you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.